Live Candid Conversation. I am your host Dr. Sabiha, and today very excited and nervous because ऐसा मौका ऐसी opportunity बार बार नहीं मिलती when I have a guest who is an IRS officer, and a director of NIFT Bangalore. Above all this, how I know her is because I see her content on Instagram for the post she is on, for the work she has to do, and with what amazing content she comes on Instagram. I am a big fan of her, and I'm a bit nervous because when you are going to talk to such level, such personalities, thoda nervousness बनता है. But I feel blessed because guys, ऐसी opportunity बार बार नहीं मिलती. Sitting in a PG in Pune, you get to talk to सुजान थॉमस, अफसरनामा जिस नाम से उनका इंस्टाग्राम पेज है, अफसरनामा में ही सब कुछ दास्तान आ जाती है. अ लेडी रिप्रेजेंटिंग द गवर्नमेंट जॉब, shifting from all taxes and calculations to all fashions and mannequins and timetables. She must be having her own amazing journey जो आज हमको इस 1 घंटे के लाइव में जानने मिलेगी. ट्रस्ट मी, ऐसे मौके बार बार नहीं मिलते. सच पर्सनालिटीज जिनके बाहर से अपॉइंटमेंट्स की मतलब ऐसी लंबी कतार होती होगी. इट्स नॉट ईजी टू गेट एंड हैव एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू टॉक टू सच पर्सनालिटीज. आई वेंट थ्रू आर एंटायर इंस्टाग्राम पेज. I went through her TEDx talks. She is one of an amazing personality, and one of the reasons why I got attracted is I am a wife of a government officer who is in PWD. I am a daughter of a government officer who is retired forest assistant conservator of forest. I'm a granddaughter of my one grandpa was retired customs officer and my other grandpa is retired education officer. तो आप सोचो कि मेरे खून में ना ये गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट ऐसे भरा पड़ा है. It's in my DNA. So today we have Suzanne Thomas, अफसरनामा इस नाम से जिनका इंस्टाग्राम पेज है, and I have some amazing things to read about her. By the time she joins us, I will be reading out that, and stay tuned till the end so that you can ask your questions to her. Okay, now I read about her. Suzanne Thomas belongs to 2001 batch of the IRS. She graduated in history from St. Teresa's College with a university first rank. She was chairperson of the college union, an avid debater, public speaker, and the best student of the college in her graduating year. She then went to Delhi to do her first master's in history from JNU. She did her second master's in public policy from the University of Oxford. I feel jealous. She has worked with the income tax department for 17 years, handling corporate tax, tribunal advocacy, TDS, etc. Before moving on the Ministry of Textiles on deputation in 2018. Versatility देखो यार. She was appointed the head of National Institute of Fashion Technology, Bangalore. She is an avid blogger on public policy and governance issues, a social media enthusiast, and believes that India's biggest contribution to the world is the loom. Yes, it is the social media through which I got connected to her. We're just waiting for her to join live. Meanwhile, जितने भी सवालात आपके होंगे ना, कि ज़्यादातर फोकस हम इसी पे करेंगे कि गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट का एक जो खौफ है, एक जो फोबिया है, still there is one mob which looks at with a lot of scary look to it. और एक है कि बड़े इंटरेस्ट से जाते हैं. There are different perceptions. MPSC ले लो, UPSC ले लो, IFS ले लो, IRS ले लो. इन एग्ज़ाम्स के लिए बहुत कुछ ऐसे फोबियाज हैं. And also when I went through a TEDx talk, trust me guys, thanks Cardio, Pradnya, Niharika, Anish, Kriti, thanks for joining guys. We'll be having her soon. So stay there, stay tuned, and let's have some valuable discussion with her. Dr. Misbah, thank you Appa for joining. I'm waiting for my guest to join. We should not miss her live today. क्योंकि I see my husband, he's in a government department, he's in PWD department. लोगों को लगता है कि शर्ट झटको तो भी wealth झटक के नीचे गिरनी है. ऐसा कुछ होता है नहीं. I went to visit to my husband last Friday. I was there for 2 days and I could spend only 1 hour with my husband because there was some minister visit on the side and he had some other obligations. So once you are a government officer, the life is totally different. And when ma'am joins with us today, I'm sure we will be able to hear a lot from her. So stay tuned there guys. Meanwhile, do pour out your questions. I'm waiting for her to join and for others to join too. Niharika, Pradnya, Cardio, Miss Bapa, thank you for supporting me by joining me. I'm waiting for ma'am to join on my live. Meanwhile, do drop your questions in the chat box. वैसे मैं 9:30 से 3-4 मिनट पहले ही ज्वाइन हुई हूँ. लाइव का टाइमिंग है 9:30. I just 9:30. I just joined in early so that you know everything is at place. Everything is at place, and I do the live very smoothly. Talk with Kriti, thank you for being there. Thank you for being there. I'm just waiting for ma'am to join. Marat Moni Mona, Namaskar, happy Holi to all of you guys. Today to celebrate Holi, I have one amazing personality. Mona, I hope your Holi was good. Thank you for the hearts, guys. Thank you for the hearts. I'm just waiting for her to join. Stay tuned till there we get her. Happy Holi, thank you for you too. Happy Holi to you too. How was your Holi? How do you do रंग पंचमी? नासिक इट इज सिस्टम है कि होली होती है, उसके बाद 5 दिन के बाद रंग पंचमी होती है. पूना तो वी हैड इमीडिएट. सुमैया अबू सेड ऑल माय सिस्टर्स आर लाइव टुडे. दैट इज अमेजिंग. Pranav Jain, thank you for joining. Do let us know from where you have. Do let us know if you have any questions related to NIFT Bangalore or any questions related to government jobs or government competitive exams, because I'm sure Suzanne ma'am will be helping us in answering all that questions. So stay tuned there. Maybe in next 5 minutes she'll be joining us. I have joined bit early. मैं जल्दी ज्वाइन हो गई और आज तो मेरी दोनों बहनें भी ज्वाइन हुई है, तो मेरी नर्वसनेस की तो पूछो ही मत. इट वॉज नाइस. नागपूरला खाऊ पिऊ मज्जा. शबे बरातच्या शुभेच्छा. ओ थैंक यू, दैट वॉज सो स्वीट ऑफ यू. आज की रात जो दुआ मांगो मोना वो पूरी हो जाती है. सो आफ्टर दिस लाइव आई विल बी हैविंग सम प्रेयर्स एंड सम नमाज. मीनवाइल आई एम स्टिल वेटिंग फॉर मैम टू ज्वाइन. थैंक यू फॉर दैट शबे बारात विशेष. आई एम श्योर आज का लाइव अच्छा हो जाए. आई गेट लॉट ऑफ नॉलेज यू नो फ्रॉम हर, so that my audience who are there now or who may be visiting later will be able to get that quality of education from her. You should meanwhile before she joins, you should go and see her TEDx talk. उन्होंने इतना सिंपल लैंग्वेज में इतना अच्छे तरीके से जो गलतफहमियां हैं ना गवर्नमेंट जॉब को लेके, वो इतना अच्छे से क्लियर किया है कि आदमी उसको इज्जत के नज़र से देखने लगता है. अदरवाइज रिस्पेक्ट छोड़ के हर नज़रिए से गवर्नमेंट जॉब को देखा जाता है. आनंद विकी, थैंक्स यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग. रोशन पांडे, थैंक यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग गाइज. डू लेट अस नो फ्रॉम वेयर यू आर. अम्मार अफजल, थैंक यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग. अम्मार अफजल, आप कहाँ से हो ज़रूर बताना. रोशन पांडे, हैप्पी होली. आनंद विकी, हैप्पी होली टू यू गाइज. आई एम वेटिंग फॉर मैम टू ज्वाइन. थोड़ी सी नर्वसनेस अभी कम हो गई है, बट आई एम जस्ट वेटिंग फॉर हर टू ज्वाइन. Ma'am is there and I can send her the request. Actually, I came live early. Invite. Ma'am, if you could. Yeah. I'm not able to accept. Hi ma'am, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Am I audible and visible, ma'am?
Yes, you are.
I was bit early, bit nervous also, so I thought I should join early. I was just bit nervous, to be very honest, when I did hear your entire TEDx talk.
Okay, great.
And me and my team, we scroll down to Instagram to your very first post, I guess, which is 2019. Some birds are there on your very first post.
Yes, absolutely. That's my hometown in Kerala. I was on a morning walk and, we saw these birds on the electric line and immediately grabbed that capture. It's that.
So you had anything planned that you will start your Instagram, or it was just you did it?
So, Sabiha, it's a very, what shall we say? It's a very spontaneous journey, if I could say. Can we switch off these comments, because it's quite distracting. I'm so sorry, but we'll switch off the comments and
no issues. Absolutely, but turn off questions, turn off commenting. Yeah, I did it, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I always had this account, this handle, so to speak, but it was a very private, it was on private setting. And, after 2019, you would see that, that first post with the birds. And then you would see that, it took me a long while to sort of, come out with another post. So a bit of inertia, a bit of work, work pressure. I was active on Facebook. But never really thought that Instagram was my thing. And then I had already joined NIFT in 2018 August. I had made my move to textiles from finance, and the thought was always there at the back of my mind that the students were the primary stakeholders as far as I'm concerned. These kids are mostly on Instagram. And so I wanted to connect with them and get to know them more, what they wanted, what they sort of expected from the campus administration and things like that. So in 19 when the semester ended and when the final years were passing out, I still recall we had our graduation show in RMZ here in Bangalore, and these kids went up on stage. It rained, and these kids went up on stage, danced, and it really was a very poignant moment, because these kids were going after 4 years, and this was my first batch which was passing out. And I thought there was no way to sort of keep in touch with them. And also I had two of my younger colleagues, Mr. Pratik and Shraddha, who kept on telling me that you must have an Instagram handle, sort of thing. So a combination of factors: the fact of being in NIFT with the student community, and then these guys goading me that go ahead and make it a public profile, and that's what led to the making of the public profile and getting on actively on the NIFT angle as well, working on campus and all. And then the pandemic struck in 1 year. And so, virtual world became our only sort of, connect with people around. So I did a lot of sari themes. I did a lot of work, handlooms and textiles. So that was a great time, even though there was pall and gloom and anxiety all around, the virtual community was very, very strong. So it did give a sense of, affinity and community bonding at that time. To a great, up until I think last year, I did not sort of warm up to reels because I never thought that I hate.
I did see your first reel. It is about the handloom. Your second reel is with your Oxford thing you're wearing.
Yes. So those were small things. I did the tasseling on one balucheri. That was the last one. And then 2020 December graduation, I did a short reel on wearing the sub-first kandi mota board from the Oxford days, just before the graduation ceremony. I did try that, but nothing serious, nothing in terms of a strategy or nothing in terms of a niche content and all that. And then sometime in August last year was when, I did that magic bomb, question and answer. So I did that on my personal handle, and I did a reel on the NIFT Bangalore handle answering questions, frequently answered questions. And that sort of, hit a chord with the students and the alumni. And, that particular one got around 400, or 400K, views. And my own, did around 22K and things of that sort. And then, I slowly warmed up to it. And then I did one which was on office ethics, which was also very, very well received. And Be Badass reposted that. So I thought, okay, not too bad. So, let me get onto it. So that's the Instagram journey. So it started for students. Still, I do follow a lot of them. They are principally, what shall we say, the reason why I'm here. I don't know how it'll go in a couple of years' time when I'm out of NIFT. No idea.
But that must be so cool for them. The director ma'am on Instagram doing reels. Nothing more connective than that. And I guess you must be the only IRS officer who is on Instagram and who is doing reels. I don't think so there is anybody else.
No, there are officers, of course, but probably, not many do a content creation with a strategy in mind, or, so as to speak to students, or so as to speak to women or their primary stakeholders. That reel But Sabiha, I mean, I'm still sheepish about it. So yesterday when Elle featured me, as
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
influential, 40 somethings to go. I mean, influence on Instagram. I'm still sort of, grappling with that alternate identity where, you're primarily a career bureaucrat.
Yeah.
And then you do have a parallel life happening on the social media side as well, on Instagram that too. I'm a bit wary, but I'm still, but I think I'm unpacking and getting comfortable around it, and putting out a lot more vulnerable, lot more sassy stuff these days.
Hmm.
Without really bothering about the image and
How
what
it goes. Yeah,
what
how it
civil servant
goes.
is supposed to be and things like that. So the feedback has also been tremendous, and people
Yeah,
do
yeah.
sometimes people do write back saying that you're a senior civil servant and this is not expected of you and that's not expected of you, and this music is not too good, that music is not too good. So it's once you
Part and
open your
parcel.
mouth, yeah, you have to be prepared for whatever
Yeah,
comes
for
your
all
way.
this stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, very true, very true, very true. But I'm so happy because it's only through Instagram I could connect to you, I could DM you, and then you could agree. Otherwise, I don't think so. There was any way possible that I could connect to you. So your and every reel, every reel I have a notification on, I get it, and I get inspired because for me also it was like Instagram is only for youngsters, and it
Hmm.
is not. I am 45. I'm a mother of 18-year-old daughter, and
Correct.
when I started it last year, I could not even go in front of camera. और that reel क्या होता है 15 सेकंड में कैसे बोला जाता है 30 सेकंड में कैसे
True.
बोला जाता
True.
है but coming back to my very first question,
Yeah.
आपको जब किसी ने 10th या 12th में या 9th में पूछा था कि बड़े होके क्या बनोगे, what was your answer that time?
Well, that answer from class 5 or 6 was very, very fixed as wanting to be a bureaucrat, wanting to be a civil servant,
Oh, is it?
Yes, yes. So,
Oh,
there
wow.
was never a doubt, or there was never, my eyes were fixed on this right from the beginning. Of course, there were plan B and plan C, in the sense that, I wanted to teach if this didn't work out, because UPSC can be dicey.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
take up serious research and probably, go abroad for a DPhil, or things of that sort. So
Yeah.
these were a couple of options that I toyed with, but then uppermost, no doubt about it, it was to join the government.
That is so nice. My daughter will be happy. My daughter is going now this August for her BSc psychology to
Great.
UK.
Oh, great.
She's got letters, offer letters from York, Sussex,
Okay.
UCL, and Warwick. She's waiting for King's. She's
Oh,
waiting
okay.
for her King's College.
Warwick is
She's
also
as
nice.
you said, yeah, yeah.
Warwick is
But somehow her
mind is.
top priority is.
Okay, okay.
Her mind is over there. But she would love this answer that my eyes were always focused on what I wanted
Yes.
because she has to answer so many people. She is an, as you said, academic topper.
Yeah.
But whenever she says कि I'm doing BSc psychology, अच्छा आप इतने होशियार थे, clever थे, intelligent थे, फिर psychology में क्यों चले गए? Is
Yeah.
how it comes up.
Yeah. These biases are
So,
very, very.
yeah, yeah. Now, I did go through a TEDx talk where you mentioned your dad being a priest and how you're married in your spouse from a police department, you in revenue department, and you explaining the combination and you telling that Sarkari Babu se Sarkari Babe. So, any specific experience you want to share as a Sarkari Babe?
Oh, plenty, plenty. In fact, my granddad, my nana, he was a priest. Not my
Okay,
dad, but at the same time,
okay, sorry.
um, so the way one works in Bangalore, I have worked in different parts of Rajasthan. For nearly 10 years, I was in Rajasthan, and places that are probably not really very familiar to the stream. So these are places like Savai Madhopur, Karoli, Kota now,
Hmm.
because it's the coaching
Because of
capital.
them.
Coaching capital of
Hmm.
India. Because of that, I was there in Ajmer for 2.5 years.
Hmm.
That was, I mean, looking back when the dots connect, it really sort of seems surreal at some point that me being from Kerala, working in the back of Beyond in Rajasthan. And that kind of experience was very different, and that exposure to a certain face of India, I think that comes only when you are with the government. Otherwise, we are in our cocoons. Sitting in Bangalore, we cannot imagine. I'm sitting in Bangalore. Where are you based out of, Sabiha?
Nasik,
Yeah.
Maharashtra.
Okay. So, sitting in our own places, we can't imagine that, there are towns where, drinking water is an issue, or a beauty parlor, is beyond,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
I said, uh, a cooking oil variety. I mean, most of the things that I stated in
Yeah,
TEDx.
you mentioned about the Lifebuoy soap.
Yeah, in the TEDx talk. So it was an
Yeah.
eye-opener. Things that you take for granted, like a park or a library access or a movie hall, a mall. Uh, so urban India, I mean, what we have grown used to. That's not the scenario in the rural area. So plenty of experiences that side. I mean, the way the dialect of the language itself. You think that probably Hindi is what's spoken in Rajasthan, but then with each district, with each region, the dialect changes, the cuisine
It
changes. So
changes.
to negotiate your way through that wide variety, what is completely different from you, but at the same time embrace it with a certain tenderness, because this is a country that you are part of, and this is the vocation rather than a job that you wanted. So that was what shall we say, it was a great tempering effect, so to speak. I mean, it really prepared me for life in all its forms. And you begin to really understand that you can love, and you can make your own who are different from you and what is different from you, and you can adapt and adopt and things of that sort. Human mind is like, I mean, it amazes me each time. So that was one great thing. So it really completely set me free of my prejudices, of my urban biases, and the need for certain things. So there were years and years that I did not get my eyebrows threaded, or go in for a waxing and things of that sort, purely because there was no access. And after a point of time, you do realize that what is unnecessary is eminently avoidable.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So these things are avoidable. So it's fine. I mean, there are a million people living a life like that, and that's fine.
Without
Uh,
that.
yeah. So from there I went to Jaipur, and then from Jaipur I came to Bangalore, and then it becomes a completely different life. And from it was from Bangalore that I went to Oxford as well. So, in a gap of around 5-6 years, I have seen cities, and I have met people who have completely sort of framed my mindset and my attitude towards life in general. So, I really don't get amazed when I see people different from me, having different beliefs from me, having different lifestyles from me, because I've lived across 3 continents. I mean, Asia, Europe, and Africa as well for some time. In Uganda when I was doing my internship. And I really think that humanity is universal, and we are all the same across the globe. So so that worldview, I think I owe it to all these places, and all these experiences that I got as part of the government. So for that, eternally grateful to life.
I understand. I
Yeah.
understand. I remember my dad is a retired assistant conservator forest. So it
Okay.
was like every 3 years transfer, and every 3 years a new home, and every 3 years new friends. So
Yeah.
at the posting, if it goes for the 4th year, I remember the Sangli posting, he was shifted from forestry to social forestry. I never
Okay.
understood what it was that time. But then I used to say कि अब्बा 3 साल तो हो गए, अभी नया घर चाहिए, नए friends चाहिए.
Right.
And today, as you say, today when I turn and see the traveling, that packing, that unpacking, the
Yeah.
new home, every time, sometimes it was a quarter, sometimes
Yeah.
it was a good home, sometimes the school was good, sometimes the
Yeah.
school was not good. And
Yeah.
yeah, it did matter in grooming up what we are today.
Yeah. It
And
does
as you
impact.
said, yeah,
No,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not even, I don't even want, the listeners to get a very romanticized picture of it, as somebody who went there, and, from a very urban thing. Of course, there have been tremendous struggles as well, because medical care was something that I really struggled with, because those were the
mm,
times when, we were trying for a child, and, I had repeated miscarriages, and, I wouldn't have access to proper medical care at that time. The best hospital would be many 100
very
kilometers
far off.
yeah, apart, and the traveling when you are in a very precarious state of pregnancy. So one has been there, and to face all that, and then you do recall that that, I mean, the greater population or the greater part of the society still don't have access to good medical care, or good educational facilities and things of that sort. So in more ways than one, it also gives you a lot of gratitude for what you've whatever you've had
Hmm.
access to, because access is a huge question, when you really and we in urban areas tend to sort of, I mean, look down or make comments about people's accents, the way people dress,
Hmm.
and things
Thought,
like that.
dress.
Yeah, and I mean, and you make such pejorative comments about somebody based on their dress and speaking style and all that, forgetting that, I mean, access that you have had is very different from the access that they have had, and it's not always a very equal footing or an
Excellent.
equal life that both of you have shared. So that also tempers you down to bite your tongue before you sort of pass a judgment on someone or something.
Hmm.
uh,
Very
so it's
true. Very
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, I have seen my dad. For me, the image of government officer is my dad.
I know.
24 by 7 working. We were four siblings. We had all sort of operatives, tonsillectomy and blah, blah, blah. My mom used to handle all alone. My dad used to be never there in the picture. Admissions ho, ghar dhoondna ho. I remember that very well. And I remember you telling in a TEDx talk, so before passing any judgment for any officer, think twice.
Yeah, true.
Because
Yeah, yeah.
it is like perks मिलते हैं and there are orderlies और सब कुछ आराम से होता है, uh, which
So
I'm
that
sure you will
all
be able to share.
I think that has all changed. And again, I mean, nothing is black and white. It's not that, I mean, there aren't, what shall we say, rotten apples, like in any other field.
Mm-hmm.
There are,
They
I mean,
are there.
every family has their own share of, I mean, good and bad. So, as an organization or as a professional team, I'm sure the government is also no different. But, there is a certain tendency to vilify, the bureaucrats a lot more than the rest of them. So, if the moment you are from the government, there is a definite attempt at vilification and the assumption that, everybody is inefficient and corrupt, and that sort of a thing. That really pains a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
As you said, it's we are on call 24/7. Of course, some of them work a lot harder. I mean, people in the police department, medical care, etc. Have round the clock engagements. But at the same time, I mean, everybody does their part. I mean, in a huge system, every little spoke, every little, wheel has to turn to make the machine work. So to that extent, I mean, I do feel pain that, I mean, there is certain vilification to the extent that, I mean, youngsters don't even consider it cool to sort of work with the government. And which was why my TEDx, I wanted it to be titled that,
Yeah,
it is lit to work with the
yeah.
government, because the impact that
Very
you can
true.
is far greater.
Oh, I have to be honest. We came to Pune, we shifted to Pune because my daughter planned I'll be giving UPSC and I'll be giving IFS,
Okay.
and I will go in that stream. So 1 year she did it. 1 year she took admission in Ferguson College, Pune, and
Right.
she started the course also. But I
Okay.
have to be very honest. After 1 year, she said, "No, Mama." And I could not even force her. I said, "Okay, then what's your choice?" I said, "No, this is not." She said, "No, this is not what I want to do. And I want to go into psychology and I want to be officers." As you said, she had her own beliefs. And she started watching her dad, अब्बू का तो कोई फैमिली लाइफ ही नहीं है एंड इज 24/7 वर्किंग एंड ऐसा लाइफ मुझे नहीं चाहिए. आई नो आई एम टॉकिंग वेरी वियर्ड थिंग. आई एम हैविंग अ गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर हियर. माय हस्बैंड इज अ गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर एंड माय डॉटर वाज strictly no after planning to go for it, and she
Mm.
repeated her 11th and she went for ICC again, and now whatsoever the journey is. But then I had to respect her beliefs.
Right. Right.
On that, my question to you is, because you are in an NIFT Bangalore, you are from a IRS background and now to NIFT Bangalore, you are dealing with so many youngsters and their mindset. How
Yeah.
do you see this balance
The work-life
with their
balance.
mindset? Yeah, the tendency of youngsters looking at an government post or being in IFS or being IRS or going for it.
I think, I mean, since we are a post-colonial state, I think there is still a lot of charm which is left for bureaucracy. So, but I guess in metros and in urban centers, definitely the interest is waning. It is still the small towns and, the tier two, so-called tier two and tier three cities, which are, throwing up a lot more, civil service aspirants rather than, let's say, Bangalore or Hyderabad or someplace like that. Delhi cannot be counted because Delhi gets a lot of floating population. So there are a lot of people who come in for their studies to DU and JNU and D School and all of them, and then who go on to prepare for their civil services as well. I think there is now a grudging realization that government is not all that bad, especially the pay factor. I mean when we of course generation before us had to struggle a lot more. But ever since, the pay commission revisions and things like that, the pay is not bad. And then, the perks in terms of, housing or whatever, that's another thing. And being in Bangalore, what I also see is this work-life balance. I think, government officers are far better off than a lot in the private sector because of their unearthly timings. And they are on call. They are on call at any given point of time. Compared to that, I think the government does take care of its employees. You as a woman, I have the benefit of a 6-month childcare, 6-month maternity. There is a paid leave of 15 days. There is a childcare leave of 2 years, which is again with full pay. And then there are very, very strict mechanisms. I can go on study leave. In fact, I went on Oxford with a grant from the government. It was part scholarship from the university and part grant from the government. So it does really take care, and it really does provide a lot of opportunity for self-actualization and self-improving. But the fact is that nobody really knows that there are these provisions or there are
such things exist.
Yeah. So which is why when I took to a social media handle, I do keep talking about this so that more people understand how we work. And as a woman employee, I do have the security of a committee that safeguards my rights against sexual harassment in the workplace. And these are fairly well entrenched mechanisms. So to that extent, the system really takes care of its employees a lot. If you are well-meaning and if your sincerity is on your table,
that matters.
Yeah, I think I don't think it can really go wrong in a major way. And I always, in fact, that we do have a lot of students in NIFT as well who, after design bachelors, seriously do consider sitting the civil service.
Going here.
Yeah, so that's again the beauty of it, that it does accept people of every stream. You could have done an engineering or a medicine or a history master's or a major in psychology or anthropology or whatever it is.
That's the best part.
Yeah, and then come here. So what they're looking for is a certain academic discipline, a certain focus at work, certain reading and skills and things like that. So I don't think the youth have still given up on the government, but I really do want the very best to come in and join the government. Not really go away from the state and go away into the private sector, not knowing that this is equally good an opportunity. And a lot of our colleagues start with the government, go on to, do a course in Harvard, Oxford, or whatever it is, or, make their name in the service and the government, and then move on to World Bank and move on to the Big Four. So it's not like it's the end of the world. There is nobody compelling you to stay on for 35 years or 36 years in the government.
In that same thing.
Yeah, it's a springboard. So if you are looking at the government for the first 10 years or 12 years and then wanting to make a parallel shift, a lot of them work in science industries. Tata also has a lot of people who have left in between and resigned in between and gone. And I think they should seriously look at that model, because one thing that I have seen with this generation is also that, they want different experiences. They don't want to be tied down to one thing.
Same.
And so I really do hope that, government is one thing that, they try as well, because it can be really interesting. It can be very, very rewarding, and it can be very impactful as well. Yeah.
So this is the way you got shifted from IRS to NIFT. How did that happen?
Yeah, so so this was an application process. I mean, I had to apply for it, and I was interviewed for it and then selected for the job, because NIFT is an autonomous organization which
Oh,
works under the.
I lost you. Am I there? Am I there or no? Oh, who creates awareness about why government